So, John, you're dead.
Again?
As always.
Every week.
It's Halloween.
All right.
So, you're dead at the hands of a sexually aggressive Harrison Ford.
Well, there's worse ways to go.
In what 3 ways do you haunt him?
Okay, I would crash his helicopter.
Okay.
I would...
Like into his house or something?
Yeah, I would haunt the controls of his helicopter so he would crash it yet again.
I mean, technically, I think it's more of a plane than a helicopter, but yeah.
Okay, sure.
Great.
I would...
Oh, no. Haunt the controls of it so it makes it look like he's just a bad pilot.
Yeah, that was what I was getting at, yes.
Oh, right, so he's
I'm not giving him a get-out clause. It's
okay.
totally going to look like his fault. He's going to look like a doddery old man who can't stop crashing aircraft. I would haunt him in the form of a overexcited Star Wars fan day in, day out, just asking him questions about specific Star Wars lore that he wouldn't give a shit about.
Did you shoot first?
Yes, exactly. Just ask him that every day, constantly.
Yeah.
And after I had killed him, after I'd caused him to have a fatal heart attack, I would drag him down to hell and make him suffer an eternity of endless celebrity interviews.
Oh, God.
Yeah, just an eternity on the interview circuit.
Yeah, that works.
Yeah.
Poor Harrison Ford. Whatever did he do to deserve that?
I don't know. It was your game. He killed me. That's what he did.
Some films are fine just the way they are. Other films sometimes take it way too far. But really, how bad could it get? Let's go beyond the box set.
Welcome back, everybody, to Beyond the Box Set, the podcast where today we are pitching prequels, sequels, and spin-off ideas to What Lies Beneath, the last of our ghost season for this Halloween.
Ooh, it's gone so fast, hasn't it?
It has. I mean, it always does because we always record a few weeks in advance. So
True, it's not even Halloween yet.
Yeah, it feels like October has just started and we're just finishing. Whatever. Anyway,
we're just about to get ready for Christmas. Woohoo!
We'll also be pitching some drinking games and hearing from our listeners with the ideas they have posted on our social media pages. But first, we're going to talk about some of our favourite moments from the original movie and catch up with a bit of a plot summary. I'm Harry, the host with the most ex-girlfriends.
All right, it feels like a technicality more than anything, but sure.
Am I wrong?
I mean, yeah, great, you've got 2.
Yay! And joining me as always, the host with the most neglected pets is John Lucas.
You've done that one before.
I've done it all the time, but just specifically for this film, it kind of fits.
I guess, sure.
That dog did not get very much attention.
No, we'll talk about it. We'll talk about Chekhov's dog.
Yeah. Yeah, so What Lies Beneath? This was the Patreon pick, right?
Yes, this was one of our patrons, Bryony, so thank you, Bryony. Mm-hmm. Good call. Yeah, what did you think?
I thought this film was crazy.
Crazy. Yes, It is pretty mad.
I really enjoyed it.
Good, I'm glad, yeah.
Yeah, it's all over the place in good and bad ways, and it's never boring.
It's what you want from a horror movie, isn't it? Like it's just it's a whole lot of madness.
Yeah.
I would say this is 2/3 of a really good movie.
Sure.
I think the first 45 minutes when Michelle Pfeiffer thinks that her next door neighbor has murdered his wife.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
Lots of fun. Then I think the end, well, it is, it's in a silly way. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And I think the last 45 minutes when Harrison Ford, spoiler alert, goes full evil is great fun and very tense. Great horror movie fare. There is, unfortunately, 45 minutes in the middle where just nothing happens.
Yeah, I'll give you that.
Nothing happens.
Yeah.
Like, this film did not need to be 2 hours and 10 minutes. This is the epitome of a 90-minute movie.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know why they felt the need to make it as long as it did.
Yeah.
But on the whole, I really enjoyed it too.
Yeah.
You know what I really liked about this, and I don't think you would see it very much today? Mm-hmm. This is a horror movie entirely without young people.
Yeah.
It's just a middle-aged couple in a horror movie.
Yeah.
2 actors who are both probably pushing 50. I think Harrison Ford might have been over at that point. Just an adult domestic horror movie. And I thought that really worked well. You didn't get distracted by annoying teenagers and all their fucking problems. It was just 2 grown-ass adults who, they had their shit together, except for all the murders.
Yeah, I wouldn't
on the surface, and then I just really like that. You don't see it very often. So
yeah. No, that's very true. Mm-hmm. So do you want to do a plot summary for this?
Sure. Yeah, I will give it a whirl.
It's a difficult one because there is a lot going on.
We have a lot to cover, so get comfy.
Yeah.
So, What Lies Beneath? It came out in the year 2000. Mm-hmm. Huge hit.
Okay.
Massive financial success. It was the 10th highest grossing film of that year.
Okay.
It made over 150 million in America and almost 300 million worldwide. And I remember this film being a kind of a sensation. Like it was, I think I saw it in the cinema.
A sensation.
It was in a weird way because it's not one of those films that people talk about today. It's not like it's Titanic or Ghost where there's like loads of iconic moments particularly, but I remember it being very popular.
Yeah.
Put it that way. And I remember going to see it. And I remember a lot of people going to see it.
Yeah.
So I don't know why particularly because like I don't think
Stardom.
Yeah, but Harrison Ford and Michelle Pfeiffer, yes, big stars, but I don't think they were in 2000 like
super current.
No, not particularly. It just seemed like it caught on.
I guess like he's Harrison Ford. He's never not been like since Star Wars. And
Yeah.
Indiana Jones, he's never not been a massive star.
It's only a few years after Air Force One, which was also a huge hit. So yeah,
Right,
Harrison
and
Ford
like
still
it's only a
had it,
few
yeah.
years after she was Poison Ivy. Was she Poison Ivy or was she Catwoman?
It was 12 years after she was Catwoman, Harry. That was like 1988.
Was it?
Yes. Or maybe 1990-ish. It's certainly not. Certainly at least a decade in between.
Wait, who was she? Who was her Batman?
Her Batman was Michael Keaton. You're thinking of Uma Thurman, aren't you?
I am, yes.
Also, nobody went to see Uma Thurman in Batman and Robin and then thought, I want to see more Uma Thurman movies now. That was not a good career movie for her, Harry. So, no.
Sure.
But Michelle Pfeiffer was still
I
a
mean,
star.
Michelle Pfeiffer was around, but like,
Yeah.
I
don't know.
That was 90s, that film.
Yeah, it was. And this was just on the cusp of 2000s. But
Yeah.
anyway, for whatever reason, it was a huge hit. And it was directed by Robert Zemeckis, who we've done loads with.
Yeah.
He's one of our most repeated directors. Obviously, Death Becomes Her.
Yeah.
Who Framed Roger Rabbit?
Was he Forrest Gump as well?
Forrest Gump, yes. Yeah, he's done a lot. I'm sure there's more. I think we've done quite a lot. Oh, Castaway.
Yeah.
Because he filmed this, interestingly enough. He filmed this really quickly. I don't think anyone thought this was going to be as big as it was. But he filmed this in the 3-month waiting period when he was waiting for Tom Hanks to lose the weight.
Oh, right.
Was it that he filmed the fat scenes first and then got thin, not the other way around, right? Yeah.
I don't think he was fat.
No, but I mean, like,
in
comparatively.
Castaway, but yeah, like when he got super skinny.
Yes,
Yeah.
He in the period of him waiting for Tom Hanks to change his physicality
yeah.
for the film, he's like, I'll just make a $300 million ghost movie
Yeah,
while I'm
just
waiting. Yeah.
Quickly whack this one out.
Yeah, talk about being on a winning streak. So,
Yeah.
not that I like Castaway very much, but this,
No.
yeah, this did very well. So, yes, so this came out in 2000. It is a classic ghost story in many ways. So Michelle Pfeiffer stars as I think she's called Claire. Is it Claire?
Yeah.
That rings a bell. Yeah,
Maybe.
doesn't
I don't
matter.
know.
Anyway, so,
Also, by the way, this film written by Clark Gregg.
I'm so disappointed. I was gonna drop that on you later. Yeah, it was written by Agent Coulson. Yeah,
Coulson.
Agent Coulson. Sorry, what do I know?
Yeah, like I saw it at the start, and I was like, is that actually like that Clark Gregg? Like, is he a writer of films? And like, I got to the end of this film, I was like, this film's actually really good.
Yeah.
Like for the most part, like it was pretty good. Yeah. He's written 3 films, so he's not a massive screenwriter.
He's got a good quality control though.
But,
I mean, I don't know what the other two are, but
No, I mean one of them's got was it Joseph Gordon-Levitt in it? Called Choke.
oh wait,
no,
Ryan Reynolds or
Ed
no
Norton.
Ed Norton. Okay, if it's the one I'm thinking
And
of.
it's the same director as Fight Club, I think it is.
Yeah, if it's the one I'm thinking
Something.
of, I saw it in it was weird but good.
Yeah,
Is it a guy who deliberately chokes on sandwiches and stuff to get attention?
something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was. Is it not Ryan Gosling?
Give me 1 second. I think it's.
I could swear it was Orion. I might be wrong. It's either a
Sam
Gosling
Rockwell.
or Sam. Oh, not even close. Okay, we're just circling around that era. Yes, I saw that in a cinema. It was very strange.
Yeah.
Not bad, but strange. I mean, it's been 15 years. It was odd, but interesting.
By the synopsis, I'm in.
Sure. I mean, we could do it one day.
Yeah. A sex-addicted con man pays for his mother's hospital bills by playing on sympathies of those who rescue him from choking to death.
Yeah, that's the film. I remember it. Yeah.
Yeah.
The mum is Angelica Houston.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. What do you know?
What was the other one?
2008. Well, I don't know.
And something else.
Nothing notable.
Okay, fine.
But yeah, so cool.
Yeah.
Just a little
Good little tidbit. Yeah, he wrote this film.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Michelle Pfeiffer is a kind of stay-at-home mom whose only daughter has just gone away to college, and she's kind of not handling it particularly well. She's having kind of a hard time with her daughter having left the household.
Yeah.
On the plus side, she gets to shag Harrison Ford on a nightly basis in a fabulous lake house. So,
Yeah.
every cloud,
Yeah.
silver linings.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Harrison Ford is her husband, but not the daughter's father, which we
No.
learn, which is kind of unimportant, but I guess it's just, I don't know, to make it less sad.
I mean, the daughter is unimportant to
The
this.
daughter, never seen again.
It's bizarre. Why include her?
Well, I think the idea of Michelle Pfeiffer as an empty nester kind of plays into the
Sure.
psychology of it. But you're right, the daughter isn't really a character.
No.
She drops the daughter off at college in the first 5 minutes of this movie.
And then we never see her again. She's never even spoken about
Never
again.
see or hear. Yeah, that's the funny thing. She's never heard from or spoken of again, which is, it's like they just forget she exists.
Yeah. It's weird that, like, because Michelle Pfeiffer through this film is going through a lot. Like, from an outsider's point of view, she is literally going insane.
Yeah.
And she's going to a therapist, and even the therapist is like, whoa.
I mean, we'll talk about the therapist and his terrible, terrible advice.
Yeah, sure. All this is going on, and her daughter is just nowhere to be seen, nowhere to be heard from. Imagine if your mother...
Harry, I hate to tell you, this is what people are like. This is what students are like. How do you know your mum didn't have a complete mental breakdown when you left home?
Well, I kept in touch.
Sure, yeah, the odd text, the odd phone call. Maybe she was putting on a brave face, you know? You don't know.
Yeah, well, sure. But at least I was texting and phone calling.
Sure. Well,
I feel like there was nothing going on between these two.
Okay, sure. Well, maybe they just weren't important scenes, but I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yes. Anyway, so Michelle Pfeiffer, she's a classic empty nester in her fabulous lake house, married to Harrison Ford, who is a world-renowned scientist, because they always are in these films. No one's just like a vet, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, I guess that's to justify the lake mansion, because their house was fabulous.
But it was his dad's house.
Yeah, true. Yeah, they could have inherited it.
Yeah,
I don't know.
it could have just been that he's from money.
Well, the scientist part comes from, we find out quite early on that he is specializing in some kind of sedative that kind of makes rats conscious but paralyzed.
Yeah.
Which is one of the many giant Chekhov's guns this film just like drops and leaves for later.
Is that what it was? All right, I didn't clock what was going on in the lab. I just sort of thought, just obscure science stuff. He's a scientist of science.
No, there's a scene where you see them administering the same sedative that he gives to Michelle Pfeiffer at the end to the rats, and they're like, how long can they how long does that hold them? Oh, about 10-20 minutes. Oh, can you do it on all mammals? Yes, even a human, theoretically. It's very Chekhov's gun. It's like, well, this is coming back, clearly. Not for the last time in this movie. But yes, so Michelle Pfeiffer is married to sedative scientist Harrison Ford. Her daughter has just gone off to college. She's having a hard time of it. But they seem like they're a happily married couple. They're very, very handsy, considering they seem to have been together for like 20 years. They just can't stop having sex.
Well, they just got rid of the daughter, haven't they?
True, it's like, woohoo.
Yeah.
But yes, so while she's dealing with her loneliness in this big old house, she becomes fixated on a pair of new neighbours who are a younger couple who seem to have a very kind of tempestuous relationship. She keeps seeing them out the windows having these quite dramatic fights on their driveway. But then at night, she also hears them having very loud and passionate sex. Which leads to the scene where her and Harrison Ford try to
compete.
See if we can take him, I think are the words.
I hate it.
I just thought, poor everyone else on this street.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't seem like it's a busy street, considering their backyard is literally a lake.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I don't like it. I just don't like to know that other people have sex.
Sure, yeah. Just keep it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Keep it to yourselves.
Yeah, please do.
Jesus.
What is he doing to her?
I guess they're making up.
Wait. Leave it open.
Think we can take them?
It's worth a try.
She becomes fixated on this couple, and one day while she's in the garden, she overhears the young woman, crying, seeming to be very distressed. And she tries to talk to her, but the young woman kind of runs away, and she seems very scared, basically. And that sets off all of Michelle Pfeiffer's concerns, basically. And then shortly afterwards, the young woman appears to disappear. Like she's not seen again. Yeah. Michelle Pfeiffer goes around to the house. It seems like there's no one there, but she still sees the husband occasionally coming in and out.
But she finds a bloody shoe.
She finds a blood-stained sandal.
Yeah.
Which is never explained.
Yeah, I was going to say, that
never explained.
No.
But we'll get to how this plot point is just entirely dropped about halfway through the movie.
Yeah.
But yeah, she finds a blood-stained sandal, and she starts literally just watching this man like round the clock. She becomes it's like Rear Window. She just becomes obsessed with him. It's like she's on the phone to her sassy best friend, being like, he's eating a dinner for one.
Yeah.
Again, we'll get to the sassy best friend. That's one of the great sassy best friends.
But there's a bit where she's watching him through binoculars from her own bedroom, and then he looks at her in that classic horror movie, like, oh my God, he's looking right at me. He must have seen me. How on earth did he see her?
Yeah.
Because if something like supernatural going on, which, you know, this film is implying because it's a ghost movie. We've picked it for ghost season, so there's got to be a ghost element to it.
Sure.
So I'm expecting something supernatural going on. There's nothing at all in that area.
Mm-hmm.
So how on earth did he just suddenly start looking at the exact place that she was in a darkened room? Looking
Unless she
through
was being
binoculars?
very unsubtle and maybe like the lamplight was reflecting off their binoculars. I don't know.
Maybe
It's a stretch.
I
mean, it turns out to mean nothing. It signifies
literally
nothing. Yeah.
It really got to me. It really got to me that I basically invested like 45 minutes of my life into
A red herring.
into this going on, and nowhere. Literally nowhere. She sees him carrying what looks like a body into the boot of his car, and then she looks again and the car has disappeared. This car, which multiple times in the movie just appears and disappears silently, completely randomly. And it would have all been a bit better if they'd done some sort of Chekhov's hallucination at the start or something like that. Just anything that would kind of explain any of that away. But nothing. Absolutely nothing. It just went nowhere.
That's what I mean. It's like this film is in like 3 distinct chapters, and yeah. But anyway, you're right. So she sees him apparently throwing a body-shaped bag in the back of this car, and then it disappears, and so she's really convinced that something really dirty has gone down.
Yeah.
Harrison Ford is very skeptical. He doesn't believe her. He thinks she's under too much stress, whatever.
Stress from what?
I know, she does shit all.
Yeah.
Just picking roses and
she's got a very cushy life.
Yeah. Well, it turns out she's had some kind of mysterious accident a year ago that no one really talks about. That kind of weaves in and out, this car accident.
Yeah, that seemed to be like not in her memory at all.
Yeah.
And I was really wondering what was going on there, where that was going, where she didn't remember that like her husband died or whatever it was. Again, nowhere.
No, that did go somewhere.
Did it?
Yeah, no, because that was her repressed memory. They keep mentioning that she had this car accident, and she's kind of like, oh yeah, I guess I did. Yeah. And then later on in the movie, she has the memory comes back that she's discovered her husband with the student girl, and then she was so upset that she drove off at high speed, and that's when she had the accident.
Yeah.
So they did go somewhere, really.
Okay, sure. I think I was just expecting something a bit more, either well, just connected or supernatural, or just something to do with like Harrison Ford has been drugging her this whole time so that she forgot this time when whatever.
Yeah. I think it's all just like playing around with her mental state to make you think, oh, is she crazy? Is she not? Like, because she can't remember this accident. So it's not quite a red herring, but it's kind of a slight mislead.
Yeah.
Anyway, so she becomes obsessed with this case. She's convinced this guy has killed his wife. As she kind of continues to investigate that, she also starts to experience paranormal activity in her own house.
Yeah.
So there's lots of the front door keeps blowing open and pictures start falling off shelves and she sees visions of a drowned woman in the lake.
Yep.
And her
the
bathtub keeps mysteriously filling with water. Yeah. Which is probably the main one. So she's having a bit of a hard time with all of this. It's starting to really freak her out, and she's convinced that there's been a murder. But Harrison Ford is like, no, you imagine anything. You need to calm down. He's not very sympathetic. No. And he actually suggests that she should see a therapist to deal with it. And so she goes to some kind of counselor, and they're having a session. And this therapist, she explains that, I've got a lot of anxiety. I don't sleep very well. And I think my house is haunted. I'm experiencing all of these paranormal things in the house. And this professional psychiatrist's advice is, I guess you should try and talk to the ghost. Yeah. She's like a Ouija board? He's like, yeah, like a Ouija board. Yeah. What professional therapist would give that as the advice?
I don't know, because...
Get a Ouija board.
Because, like...
And speak to the dead.
That means that therapist full-on believes in ghosts.
Or he's saying, well, do it and nothing will happen, and then you're like... But
I don't think that if anybody uses a Ouija board, nothing happens. They're then, I guess ghosts aren't real then.
No, true.
I think if you've got to the point where I'm going to buy a Ouija board and, keep that with my Monopoly set.
I mean, it really was a Fisher-Price Ouija board. That did very well. Where did you get it? Walmart. just literally between Monopoly and Guess Who. Ouija board by Fisher-Price.
Yeah, so I don't know. I think that just I checked out at that point. Like I checked back into the movie.
Oh god, but, you came back. Yeah.
But yeah, I think I checked out for the middle bit after the therapist basically said, "Yeah, just talk to the ghost." Like,
yeah,
come on.
That they could have handled that transition a little bit better. No professional therapist worth their salt would advise a disturbed patient to get out a Ouija board.
No.
Yeah, but she does. She and her sassy best friend, who I loved, The Best Friend was one of my highlights of the movie. And I talk about Chekhov's guns. I was like convinced that The Best Friend was like, oh, she's going to die.
Yeah,
she's
same,
your classic
same.
best friend. She's your sassy best friend who gets murdered halfway through the movie to raise stakes. No, she lived.
Nope, she did very well.
Yeah, she lived. She wasn't in it as much as I would have liked, but she was a lot of fun. But this Ouija board scene, I had a great time with. So her and The Best Friend are like doing the Ouija board. They're in the bathroom. They're kneeling down. They've lit a candle.
And I was just imagining the conversation that happened beforehand. When Michelle Pfeiffer calls off her best friend and just like, "Hey, Sally, so I'm having a problem with this ghost." And Sally's like, oh, "What are you on about now? What's this?" And I want to. I've got this Ouija board, and I want to communicate with the ghost, but I don't want to do it alone. Really don't want to do this with you right now. You're just too much. Just like, I'll bring wine. Okay, I'm there.
I feel like Best Friend seemed up for it. She seemed like very like up for a good time. Yeah, I'm sure the wine helped, but certainly like I can imagine this being the kind of friend who'd be like, yeah, sure, why not? Like, I'm game, because she didn't take it very seriously. Like there's lots of joking and laughing. Yeah. No, I really liked The Best Friend. She was. I wish that she was in it more. She was lots of fun, very charismatic.
Yeah.
They do the seance and they try and commune with the ghost.
Sorry, I just remember my favourite line of the movie, which comes after this, which is, "I'm not crazy, I did a seance."
Yeah. Yeah. There's some great dialogue in this. But they do the Ouija board and initially nothing happens, as always is the case with Ouija board. It's like, oh, nothing's happening. Oh, let's laugh it off. And then, of course, the lights go out, the door creaks open, the candle dies. It's like, oh, darkness, ooh.
Yeah.
The Best Friend's facial expressions in this moment. Did you clock it too?
Yeah.
It was so good. I can't do it on a podcast, but she literally was like... It was brilliant.
A very campy face of shock.
It was, yeah. She knew what movie she was in, this Best Friend.
Oh, yeah.
She was great. She had the wig, she had the dresses, she had the wine.
More of her.
So much more of her, yeah.
More characters that were her.
Yeah, exactly. Just bringing a bit of levity.
Yeah.
But anyway, so it looks like, oh, we're going to get a ghostly moment, but then, of course, the fucking dog jumps in.
Yeah.
And then they all just forget anything ever happened. They just stop thinking about it. And it's like...
Yep.
And so, yeah, then the Best Friend leaves. It's like, don't tell my husband.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
She's dead.
Who's dead?
You know damn well who's dead.
Oh, this is your...
Listen to me. He killed her and I'm not crazy. Jody and I had a seance in the bathroom and Jody and I, nothing happened, but when I went back there, she was there. She was.
The seance doesn't really go according to plan, but she continues to experience these paranormal experiences and her relationship with Harrison Ford starts to disintegrate a little bit. He isn't taking her seriously and he accuses her of just like being desperate for attention and trying to distract from him at a very important moment in his career because he's got on this some kind of ill-defined study that he's working on that's very important to him, and he's like, are you trying to take this away from me? Blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
Their relationship's not good at this point. But they end up at some event, some like I think some science university event, and by now she's like really wound up about the fact that her neighbor next door has killed her husband and all that stuff. Her wife, sorry, has killed his wife. She's really wound up by the idea that this neighbor next door has killed his wife. Yeah. And she sees the husband at this party and she very publicly just kind of screams in his face, "I know you killed your wife, you bastard." It's a lot. Like she really goes in. It's great.
I love everybody else's reactions around. They all just stop walking past and just like, oh, okay.
Yeah. It's
I'm gonna stay here for a while.
Yeah, you know, everyone's like, grab more wine. This night just kicked off. This got good. That would be totally how I would react in this moment. And then he's like, well, I didn't kill my wife. My wife is right here. Yeah. And then boom, Miranda Rosso from Lord of the Rings. Eowyn turns up.
Oh, is that who
it was? Eowyn, yeah.
I knew I recognised her.
Yes, that's who it was. Yeah.
Well done.
Yeah. Michelle Pfeiffer is like, oh, that's embarrassing. I was like, yeah, there's no coming back from that. Like,
yeah.
And then that plot just disappears.
It completely dies at that moment. Well, it's great. Like they do go to another party later on, and she sees them, and the husband has the best reaction ever, which is to pretend to strangle his wife.
I loved that. That was such such a dick move.
Because it was so inappropriate, but also so funny.
That was hilarious.
You would, wouldn't you?
Yeah. No, it's good. Well, Michelle Pfeiffer has like one scene with Miranda Otto after the big reveal where they're like in the garden, and then she's like, "So what was happening that day when you were crying and seemed really upset and scared of your husband?" And Miranda Otto's just like, "Well, I love him." Yeah. And it's like, okay, well, that plot's over.
Yeah.
Bye, okay. And then, they're at the party and that's it.
Sorry, but this film is not that anymore.
No, we're moving on. We're into chapter 2. Yeah. And then we enter the slow middle of the movie when I really drifted out because nothing happened for quite some time.
Yeah. So what did happen?
Well, now that she's been confronted with the fact that she was delusional about the next door neighbor being murdered, she kind of accepts that maybe it's all in her head. Mm-hmm. So she's back at the therapist and she says, look, I think I'm suffering from a very extreme version of empty nest syndrome. And I think I'm just not handling the fact that my daughter's gone away. Yeah. And it's making me see things that aren't there. And I need to get help for that. So she seems to like she's taking a very mature, self-aware approach to it. Mm-hmm. But then she goes to another party and another like one scene exposition character comes up and says, hey, don't you remember that time last year when you got so upset and you'd crashed your car? Yeah. And she's like, oh my God, I did do that, didn't I? And she unrepresses her repressed memory, which is that she, on the night that she had the car accident, she caught her husband, Harrison Ford, with a younger woman, a student. Yeah. And that's what caused her to drive away. Yeah. And so she confronts Harrison Ford and he admits that he did have an affair that caused her to have this car accident, but then because she'd forgotten about it, they just didn't talk about it ever again. And he hopes that he could like repair the relationship and he's very apologetic. And he claims that this girl was like obsessed with him, all this stuff. Anyway, so she relearns all of this stuff that she'd completely forgotten and repressed. And she does some digging, she does some investigating. And she ends up visiting the mother of the girl, who it turns out that girl, after having an affair with her husband, disappeared and was never seen again. So instantly suspicious. She goes to visit the mom, and while she's visiting the mom, she finds a lock of this girl's hair. Yeah. And she takes that home with her. Because that's what you do when you visit a dead girl's bedroom. Yeah, and she takes that lock of hair home, and then the lock of hair causes her to become possessed by the spirit of the girl. Yeah. Yeah, this is where the film got weird. Yeah. And then there's this whole scene where she seduces Harrison Ford in this new persona very aggressively. Like, so aggressively that I was like, he should stop this. I feel like she's going to bite his dick off.
Yeah. Louise called the same thing.
Yeah, I was like, she's in full dick biting mode. Like,
yep.
Do not do this.
Yep. Also, I did not get the impression that he was into it at all.
No.
Because he was very much hard reactor. It's like, oh, that was a brand new shirt.
Yes. Some of Harrison Ford's line readings in this film were great. A new shirt. It's my only shirt. But like, you know how Harrison Ford, everything is like very deadpan? That makes him a very good villain in this film because he's not being like, Bwahaha, I'm the villain. It was just very like underplayed, which I liked. It made him more sinister in a way. So, so there's this weird moment of possession when she like attacks him almost, and then she snaps out of that and once again kind of accuses him of this affair, and he kind of... I think that's when she finds out he's had an affair, and he admits everything to her, and he says he's very sorry. And she goes and stays with sassy best friend for a few days, and then she comes back and finds that he has attempted suicide by dropping a hairdryer in the bath. Yeah, which is of all the ways to go.
I feel like he's a man of science. Yeah. He's probably a bit smart. It's a fake suicide, actually, isn't it? Never mind.
Yeah, exactly.
I was going to say he'd find a better way to do it, but. It's a fake suicide. So
yeah, it's clearly a fake suicide, so that's why. But yeah, so they're trying to like build their relationship back and forgive each other. But the spirits keep drawing her. They keep drawing her towards the lake at the bottom of the garden. Yeah. And on one night she jumps in, does a deep dive, finds a box on the bed of the lake, fishes it out, opens it up, and finds the necklace belonging to the student.
Well, there's a fair bit leading up to that. So the first time she jumps in, he's there and he pulls her out. He basically saves her. She doesn't realize that she's done this. Like, she's been possessed to do this. Yes. So yeah.
It feels like after she gets the lock of hair, she's constantly being possessed by the ghost.
Yeah.
There's drawing.
And the last one, he finds out about the lock of hair and they burn it. Yeah. But then she finds a key just in a vent in the floor, just randomly.
Yeah, I think it's the ghost drops it out of her dressing gown.
Oh, is it? Right.
She's in the bath.
No, she finds the key earlier. It's in a vent underneath the desk in the office.
Yeah, you're right, yeah.
And then it doesn't fit anything, so she just puts it in the pocket of her dressing gown.
And then it falls out in a mysterious way.
Yes, later. And then that's when she's like, oh, okay, maybe I should go and get that box that I have a weird memory of that's at the bottom of the lake. Yeah. Okay, and so she just goes and gets that in the middle of the night. Yeah. Don't know how on earth she managed that.
Well, I love that they just decided not to show that scene. Yeah. They just like show her coming out looking all wet with the box. It's like, yeah. Sure. Yeah.
And goes home and opens the box, and what's in it? I forgot.
A necklace belonging to the dead girl.
God, it's really one thing after another, isn't it?
This film has so many twists and turns.
Oh my God, I found a key. I wonder what the key could be for. Okay. Oh, I found a box. Oh, I wonder what could be in this box. I guess I'll go and get that later. Maybe that key opens it. Okay. Oh, I'm going to open the box. What's in the box? Oh, it's a necklace, but the necklace has the same symbol that's on the outside of the box anyway. Wonder what this means. Oh, I'm going to go to this shop. Oh, this shop has this symbol everywhere. What is this?
It's like a computer game. Yeah.
And also, where does that go? I don't feel like she learns anything from it.
Well, the necklace belongs to the student, and that's how she figures out that Harrison Ford must have killed the student.
I figured that out the minute I saw the picture of the student, because she was wearing a necklace, but where Michelle Pfeiffer just goes for the hair that's next to the picture. It didn't make any sense.
Okay. Well, no. Sense isn't a big part of this film, but
like the minute that I hear that there's a missing girl, I didn't even clock that girl was Harrison Ford's previous affair, even though apparently that was obvious.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, well, Harrison Ford killed that girl. Like, it's very obvious.
Yeah. Well, you're watching in a movie. Like, she's in a movie, so she doesn't know.
Yeah, but I got that, like, 4 or 5 clues before she got it.
Sure. Okay. No, you're right. I mean, this movie could have been condensed. It could very easily have been condensed. This middle part could have all gone, but whatever. We just had to suffer through this to get to the end, which is actually pretty good.
Yeah.
So she accuses Harrison Ford of murdering the girl, and Harrison Ford initially says that he didn't murder her, but she, after they had an affair, became obsessed with him, and he came home one day to find that she'd committed suicide in the house. And so rather than like ruin his career and his marriage and his whole life, he disposed of the body.
Yeah.
And he kind of begs for forgiveness, and Michelle Pfeiffer says, you need to tell the truth. You need to tell the truth. And she hands him the phone, and he appears to phone 911 and say, please send around the police because I need to talk about this disappeared girl. I've got information about where her body is.
Yeah.
And so then Michelle Pfeiffer goes upstairs, but it turns out Harrison Ford didn't call 911. He called 411, which I think is like the equivalent if somebody here in the UK called the speaking clock. It's just like, he's just saying all this stuff, but there's no one on the other end.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And that's when Harrison Ford goes full psycho killer. Which, Harrison Ford is a villain. Not often seen, but I liked it in this.
No, it worked.
It worked, yeah. He attacks her, Michelle Pfeiffer.
I think it only worked because she was always on the back foot.
Yeah.
If she was a perfectly capable person in this, then I don't think it would have been that scary, because it could have been just like, well, I'll just run away from you.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, there were moments, but...
well, like, it's just because he very quickly gets the drop on her. Like, the minute that he's revealed to be the villain, like, the minute that she works out that he's the villain and he's not being truthful, he then chloroforms her.
Sure.
Like the instant, and then from then on, she's constantly struggling to move. So,
sure.
Yeah.
But I think, again, this is why I think it's really good to have, like, middle-aged actors in this, because they've been married for... This is like her husband of, like, 20 years who's suddenly a psycho killer. Like, I think that adds to it more than just being some random guy.
I thought, during these scenes, I thought that the film was building towards, and I was disappointed that it didn't build up to the two of them crawling to try and get some object.
Oh, okay.
Like trying to outcrawl each other.
Oh, okay.
Because, she gets mostly paralyzed. He has a very bad injury to the head and neck.
Yeah.
And, can't really move very much either. And I was like, okay, this is about to get really pathetic and I can't wait.
Yeah.
And it never did.
No, that would have been fun. I know what you mean. But I do think the end really picks up. I really like this whole sequence. So he paralyzes her with the sedative that he's used on the rats, which basically means that she's fully conscious, but she can't move. Yeah. And he puts her in the bath and he turns the taps on. He's going to drown her. It's a bit of a Dr. Evil way to kill somebody. It's a very long walk. But I guess the idea is that he wants to make it look like a suicide. Like he wants it to look like she's drowned herself in the bath. Yeah. So, which, fair enough. So fine. And it is a great scene because then she can only really move her eyes. So it's kind of like the guy in the teddy bear in Midsommar. Yeah. It's just like, she knows what's happening.
Teddy bear.
Or in the bear. Right.
That was a real bear.
It was a real bear, sorry, yeah. So she's moving her eyes around and the water level is rising. Yeah. And he's just sat watching her drown, which is, very chilling. But then just near the last minute when it's coming up around her neck, he spots that the necklace belonging to the girl is around her neck. And he's like, well, better remove that because that's going to be very incriminating for me. So he kind of leans in to unclasp it. And while he's doing that, Michelle Pfeiffer transforms into the body of the dead girl. Yeah. The decomposed dead girl.
Yeah. It makes him jump.
Yeah. I liked this.
She may as well have gone boo.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of boo moments in this one. Yeah. But, and I liked this as a way of taking down the villain. It wasn't like she stabs him through the heart or anything. It's like he literally just jumps and smashes his head. And I mean, he doesn't die right then, but it's close enough. Yeah. Yeah. So he jumps back, he slips, he smacks his head against the sink,
smashes a mirror,
goes down like a sack of spuds. Yeah. He's fully out. And then we've just got a long, very tense sequence of Michelle Pfeiffer very slowly trying to like fight against this sedative while the water just gets higher and higher and it goes over her mouth, it goes over her nose. It's very well done. Like this is, I was genuinely, even having seen the movie years ago, I'd forgotten exactly what happened. I was very much like, shit. Like it's good. Yeah. It's very well played. Yeah. But yes, she manages just at the last minute to get enough control over her toes to pull the plug out. I think. Yeah. And as she regains consciousness, I guess, she manages to like fully drag herself out of the bath, but she finds that Harrison Ford isn't on the floor anymore. Classic, the villain's disappeared kind of thing. Then she looks over the banister and he's kind of managed to crawl his way downstairs, but he's passed out again. Yeah. Again, I like that.
Seems to have gone downstairs and then turned around and then lay down.
But I loved that because, again, and maybe it's just because they've got like middle-aged people playing villains, but he didn't ever become the invincible villain. You know, a lot of the time with horror movies, once they are discovered, suddenly they just can't die. Yeah. He's like a 55-year-old man who's had a massive blow to the head and lost a lot of blood, and he's passed out a few times. Like, I liked that more. Yeah. He never felt like an invincible villain. Just, you know, I mean, a little bit towards the very end, but
yeah, a bit. Yeah.
He's still, you know, not to an unbelievable superhuman level. So he's now like passed out downstairs. She tries to sneak past him. She tries to get hold of There's a whole bit when she's trying to get hold of the phone. I'm just like, bitch, get out of the house. Yeah. Get out of the house. There's other phones.
Yeah,
like,
there's a neighbour really close. There was a whole... Do you not remember the neighbour from the start of the movie?
I thought this would be a great moment to reintroduce Miranda Otto. Yeah, just knock on her door. Yeah. But no. But she does eventually leave the phone because he twitches and then she just runs out. I was like, finally. Yeah. She jumps in the car, but he obviously chases her, manages to get into the back of the car.
How on earth?
Well, it's a big car.
No. How on earth he managed to chase her? Like she wasn't super slow getting in that car.
She got into the wrong car.
I know she went to the wrong car initially. Firstly, how do you go to the wrong car?
I know. It's a stressful moment.
But then, like last she saw him, he was lying down, passed out in his own blood. Yeah, from his head.
No, I mean this moment stretches it a little bit. But yeah. Basically, she starts.
I feel like Harrison Ford, even at full health, couldn't move that fast now.
No, I'm certainly not. He's like 78.
Or then even.
Or then, yeah. Then he was like 58. Yeah, he would have been 58.
It's 20 years ago.
Yeah, he would have been 58. Yeah. So probably not, no. Yes, so she's driving the car desperately. I think she knows he's in the back, but she's just too scared to stop. Or, you know. And then she gets halfway. She's trying to phone the police. That's it. And she needs to get halfway over the bridge to get mobile cell reception, which was another Chekhov's gun. But, yeah. But she's driving. She stops in the middle of the road to try and call the police. He jumps out the back, grabs her. The car veers out of control, drives over the bridge into the water. Water flooding into the car, sinking quickly. You know, they're both in danger of drowning. He's like, well, I guess we're going to go down together. He kind of grabs onto her neck and he won't let her escape. Yeah. The car's filling with water and sinking. Yep. And then suddenly they come upon the floating, decomposed body of the student. It's
like the boat that was behind them. There was a boat being carried by the car.
Yes.
And the mast of that boat just falls out. And I really thought that was going to go through somebody.
Yeah, well, they teased that, yeah.
Yeah, I really thought they're like, okay, that's going to go like through his head or something.
Yeah, and that's how he's going to die.
Yeah, but no, not at all. And so that like comes down through the car, knocks all the windows out, and then lands in the student's car, which is sunk at the bottom of the lake. So there's a big coincidence here as to where they're going into the lake. It's very poetic for the film. Yeah, and it disturbs the body, and the body sort of slowly floats out of the car, and you're like, oh, now shit's going to go down. Yeah. And it does.
Yeah, well, then the body kind of floats up towards them, and then it opens its eyes very dramatically. And the ghost comes back to life, it seems, and grabs Harrison Ford and drags him down into the water where he drowns. Yep. And Michelle Pfeiffer manages to swim to freedom. Yeah. And then the next scene we see, she's in a graveyard paying her respects to the body of the dead girl. And that's the end. It ends very abruptly. It's like, oh, and now it's over.
Yeah, it does.
We're done. Yeah. So, which is how horror movies work. You don't really need to see a whole lot of.
I was kind of expecting some sort of a cliffhanger.
Yeah.
Not anything that was actually going to be followed up, but just like
a hand out the graveyard or something.
Something like that. Yeah, like maybe he's not dead or something. Sure. I don't know, but
like you see him floating at the bottom of the lake, and then his eyes just go like boom.
That's that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Nothing that like the filmmakers would have expected it to be followed up with, but something.
Yeah, this film dodges a lot of cliches, which I enjoyed. Like,
it does.
I mean, it certainly indulges in some as well. But it dodges some of the really obvious stuff. So yeah. I was overall pretty happy with it. Yeah, it could have been condensed, but it was very well acted.
It maintained a level of fun.
Yeah, definitely. It was very watchable.
Yeah,
very watchable. I'd say.
Yeah. Even though it did kind of we were both phased out in the middle. I wouldn't say that it got full on boring.
It wasn't boring. It was just like, oh, where's this going? It seems like it's meandering a little bit. But yeah. No, I really like this film. I think it's a good film.
Yeah. Cool. Okay, so drinking games.
Yes, I have quite a few for this one.
Sure. Do you want to go first then?
Great, yes, absolutely. So first off, drink for boo moments. Like normally I'd call those jump scares, but for this movie it really is boo moments. It's very much that. Like
there's a lot of them. I've got a similar one, which is drink whenever a camera movement reveals something or someone that wasn't there before.
Yes. Well, that's what I was going to say. The way this film is shot makes it really knows it's a ghost movie from start to finish. Like there was a scene quite early on when literally Michelle Pfeiffer kind of quite forcefully pulls a plug out of the bath.
Oh yeah.
And I kind of went, whoa! And I was like, what did I just jump at? She literally just like emptied the bath. Like it's just the way it's shot makes you think, oh, because the music and the angles, it's just all like very like whoop, whoop, whoop. So, yeah.
There's a lot of times when like somebody is just taking up like the left half of the screen, for example, and the right half of the screen, there's just not really anything going on.
Yeah, a lot of foregrounding.
And like you're just kind of like something's about to appear there. And it doesn't always.
Yeah.
Like in fact, it rarely does in the times where this happens in this film. And they really are just kind of building that tension by telling you that something's about to make you jump, but it doesn't always actually make you jump.
Yeah, but I think that's in many ways that's better because it really unsettles you because sometimes it happens and sometimes it's just nothing. It's just a scene. Yeah. So yeah, I enjoyed that.
Drink for any single scene character.
Oh yeah, I had this too. Drink every time a supporting character pops up purely to deliver exposition.
Yeah.
I love that about this.
There's a lot of that.
So many people just crop up like to, hey, remember that time when your husband died, or when when you had that car accident, or so many.
There's a lot of random people at parties.
Yes,
obscure daughters and stuff like that.
Very much so. Yeah. Okay. Drink every time Michelle Pfeiffer peers over a fence.
Okay. Yeah.
And or cuts herself.
I was about to say whenever she hurts herself as well, which is. It's in such a way in this that I assumed it was foreshadowing something, but nothing came of it.
Not really, no. It's just, she seems to constantly just be like, ow, ow.
Like multiple times, she peers over a fence and then cuts herself on the way down.
Yeah.
And I don't know what that was for. I don't know what that added. Also, drink whenever the dog is the smartest person in the room.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I had that dog he's part of my drinking game on Chekhov's guns because he was Chekhov's dog, I think. Because I really thought he was going to play a major role in this film.
Yeah.
He really comes and goes.
Like there was a time when she was standing at the end of the pier, just sort of looking out into nothingness, and it's all very eerie, and you feel like something's just about to happen, and the camera slowly pans round to show like the rest of the pier behind her. You're like, oh my god, what's going to be standing behind her?
Yeah,
and it's just the dog is there, and like the dog barks at something off to the side. And that's it. I thought the dog was possessed.
Yeah.
I thought, oh my god, is this dog going to get up and speak? Or like, what's about to happen here? Is the dog going to attack? I really thought the dog was going to attack her. But no. The dog like barks once and then just runs home.
Yeah.
Like, oh, well, that was nothing.
Well,
Thanks.
when Harrison Ford is going full evil and he is drowning Michelle Pfeiffer, the dog jumps up on the bath and like looks at them both and goes like, ruff, ruff, this looks weird. And then I was like, oh great, so the dog's going to save Michelle Pfeiffer.
Yeah.
There's going to be a big climactic fight.
Or Harrison Ford's going to kill the dog and become a real villain.
Sure, yeah, but I was more like, okay, there's going to be a climactic fight between the two of them. It's going to look like Harrison Ford's got the upper hand, and then the dog is going to jump in at the last minute, savage Harrison Ford, save Michelle Pfeiffer.
Yeah.
No, that dog does fuck all. Yeah. It's fucking useless. Like,
that dog's like, where's my attention?
Yeah. Which is probably, again, true to life about what a dog would be like in that scenario, but it amazed me how the dog really came and went. Like in the scenes when the dog's not directly on screen, that dog is not in the house. No. There's no question. That dog is not in the house. Like,
no,
no dogs are that quiet. You know, you can't have a spooky ghost movie haunted house with a big dog because that dog is always going to make its presence known. Like, it does that in the Ouija scene, obviously.
Well, doesn't the dog actually leave for a bit? Isn't that actually a thing where the dog just runs off and? Doesn't Michelle Pfeiffer say something about it? Just like, I've not seen the dog for a while, and then it just appears.
Maybe it was like a line of exposition. I don't know, but I mean,
maybe it was again with the writers, just like, guys, the dog should have been barking at this point. What do we do?
Yeah.
Oh, let's say the dog was lost for a while.
Yeah,
but
they didn't really go deep into it. They didn't make the dog disappearing any kind of plot line. So. But yeah, I just felt, if you live in a house with a dog, that dog, you always know where that dog is exactly because it will never leave you alone.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
My last one is drink for Chekhov guns.
Yep.
There are so many Chekhov guns in this movie. It really made me laugh.
Like, they don't all get fired.
No, some of them stay unloaded. Yeah, but it's like it's Chekhov's artillery. It's, so you've got the sedative when we find out Harrison Ford is a sedative doctor and he's like paralyzing all these rats.
Yeah.
You've got the dog. I think the dog counts definitely.
Oh yeah.
My favourite one is quite early on in the movie when they're driving and they're having this very inorganic conversation about, you can't get signal to you on the centre of the bridge.
Oh, God.
Why can't you phone them up? Because we're not on the centre of the bridge yet. You can't get signal to you on the centre of the bridge. Well, wait till you get the centre. Look, we're at the centre. Now we have full signal. I'll phone them now. It's like...
Was mobile data that bad?
Yes, but the point is that
Mobile
it's clearly just to set up the final chase.
Oh, yeah.
But it was so inorganic, like dialogue that nobody in their right mind would ever say. Like,
What are you saying? That he murdered his wife?
Is that so ridiculous? She was terrified, and now she doesn't answer the door, but her car is sitting in the garage.
Maybe she was out or in bed with the flu, or maybe she was abducted by aliens, for all we know. Restaurant, let him know we're running late.
No, we're not at the center of the bridge. You can't get service until we're at the center of the bridge.
I know we're not at the center of the bridge. There. See?
Well, that's a relief.
You got any more?
no, I'm done.
Okay. Well, if you've enjoyed all these drinking games, and if you enjoyed our chat so far, and if you're expecting that you're going to enjoy the sequel pitches that we've got prepared, then please do consider subscribing to patreon.com/beyondtheboxset, where you can get more of all of that, because we do extended versions of the main show. You can get more drinking games, more sequel pitches, a little bit more chat about the movie, more listener submissions, just more bang for your buck, basically. We also do bonus episodes. We do a 30-second advert slot on the main show. You can advertise whatever you want, your own podcast, your own business, whatever you feel like. You also get access to our exclusive Facebook group. And I feel like there's one more thing. Oh, yes. Every month, including today, we do a Patreon episode where a random Patreon member gets to pick the episode for us. You can guess if you want to, but you don't have to. So go to patreon.com/beyondtheboxset and subscribe for as much or as little as you want.
Let's see, Alex. What do you think of Jaws, which is at 97% Rotten Tomatoes?
I find it to be anti-shark propaganda. What do you feel about the Entourage movie, which is at a meager 33%?
I think they finally got Hollywood right. How about It Follows, 97%?
Worse than your parents giving you the sex is evil talk. How do you feel about Juno, which is at 94%?
That would be a movie that celebrates a teenage homewrecker. How about Bewitched at 25%?
Best television adaptation ever put to film. How do you feel about American Hustle at a towering 93%?
Overwrought awards bait. Righteous Kill, 19%.
The movie that Michael Mann wishes he had made when he created Heat.
Sounds about right. I'm Julio.
I'm Alex, and we are the Contrarians.
As you can tell, our thing is that we rage against the Rotten Tomatoes machine.
Regardless of what we really feel.
Find us on Apple Podcasts, SoundCloud, Stitcher, TuneIn,
Facebook, Twitter, we're everywhere.
So, sequels, what do you got for me then, John?
Oh, are you not going first?
Well, I've only got one, so I thought that you might have more than one. Maybe you could go.
Okay, sure. Yeah, I think I've got two. Maybe I've got two for definite and one that's kind of a meh. So maybe the meh can be.
Well, great. We'll go one, go meh, then I'll do mine, and then you do your other one.
Okay, so my first idea is based on the dropped plot line of Miranda Otto and her husband, who Michelle Pfeiffer thinks has killed her husband. Michelle Pfeiffer thinks the husband has killed Miranda Otto. Yeah. And
this film has a lot of openings for sequels, doesn't it?
It does. It actually does have a lot going on. So this whole plot line really does disappear because she thinks she's seen him throw the body into the back of the car, but then it turns out they see them at the party, and then like nothing else happens after that. But it doesn't. It leaves a lot of unanswered questions. Yeah. Like, what was going on with them? Why are they so weird? What was with the bloodied sandal? Like, you just don't know because this film just doesn't tell you. So I was thinking, okay, what if you had a side movie that was more from their perspective? And maybe what actually happened was that, because they don't really get to know the neighbours, she never gets a clear look at the neighbour, at Miranda Otto, until after sees her at the party. Yeah. So I was thinking maybe the guy really did murder his wife, and Miranda Otto is the wife's twin.
But she doesn't need to be. She could be somebody else.
She could be someone else. But I was thinking, do you remember that terrible film we saw a couple of years ago, Suburbicon, with Julianne Moore and Matt Damon?
I barely remember it, but yeah.
Julianne Moore plays twins.
That's the only thing I remember from it.
And one twin is Matt Damon, is it? Was it Matt Damon?
Yeah.
Matt Damon kills his wife.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Matt Damon murders his wife because he's having an affair with his wife's twin sister, both of whom are played by Julianne Moore.
God, that film sounds so good.
It really wasn't, though.
No, it wasn't.
No, it was terrible. It was a great idea, terribly executed.
Yeah.
This would do it better.
Yeah.
Hopefully. But yeah, I'm thinking what if...
So, sorry, did you just pitch that my idea is just going to be better than another film? Mm-hmm. I'm a better director than Steven Soderbergh or whoever it was.
It was George Clooney. It's literally all I've got for this. But yeah, I was just thinking maybe it's from the perspective of the husband. And then, he's having an affair with his wife's twin sister. Mm-hmm. And between the two of them, they are plotting to bump off the wife. And maybe the wife is very...
Right, yeah.
Yeah, and maybe the wife is like very emotionally unstable because she seemed to be in this movie.
Yeah.
And yeah, so they're planning to bump her off so that they can stay together. But they move into this new neighborhood before the murder. Before this happens, they move into this new neighborhood. Mm-hmm. And the next door neighbor is this very kind of brittle-seeming, waspy lady... Michelle Pfeiffer.
Waspy. That's such a good description from Michelle Pfeiffer.
Yeah, she's very waspy. Who is very suspicious. And it starts like sticking her nose in where it's not wanted. And then the murder happens, that they do actually murder his wife. But then Michelle Pfeiffer is incredibly suspicious and keeps sniffing around the house. And they have to figure out a way to put her off the scent.
Definitely.
Yeah. So then they have to start living together as husband and wife and going to all these parties just so they can be like, hey, look, I didn't kill my wife. My wife's right here.
Well, I think that as well as that, they should be making efforts to try and make Michelle Pfeiffer look like she's going insane.
Yes. So they start, maybe they're actually part of this. Maybe they're actually, they're not like actively working with Harrison Ford. They have no idea what his whole deal is. Yeah. But they are working to undermine her mental stability when they realize that this woman's a little bit crazy. They're like, okay, let's play on that, let's work together to drive her nuts. So a lot of the ghost
call a plumber. We want this tap above the bath to work really well.
Because there was a lot of stuff in this movie that I think, was that Harrison Ford or was that just the ghost? So
I don't know.
Maybe they're not working with Harrison Ford, but they just independently are tormenting her by making her think that she's living in a haunted house with the goal of driving her insane and ruining her credibility in case she ever testifies against them. And then it's a whole movie from the perspective of the murderers while they're trying to put this woman who suspects them on the wrong track. Then she ends up killing her husband, Harrison Ford.
Oh, what if the... Oh, no, that doesn't work. Oh, damn it. I was going to say, what if the twin that comes in on the scene is the mother of the dead missing girl? But that doesn't quite work because we do actually meet that mother. I was just going to say, like, maybe that she's got some investment in trying to uncover this murder and like make sure that Harrison Ford gets what he deserves.
Maybe she's
and so there's this whole grand plan to just like, okay, well, let's just make him and Michelle Pfeiffer just go at it. Like Michelle Pfeiffer, she looks like she can stick up for herself.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Okay. Well, maybe Miranda also, as both of these twins are the older sisters of the girl who Harrison Ford killed.
Yeah, that works. That works. Yeah.
So brilliant. it's a very complicated plot, but basically one twin kills the other twin, but is also trying to get revenge for the murder of her younger sister.
Yep.
And so they move in next to Harrison Ford.
Yep.
Try and drive Michelle Pfeiffer crazy as revenge. A, because Michelle Pfeiffer is snooping around where she's not wanted and she's getting close to cracking their murder case. But B, also because they want revenge on Harrison Ford. Yeah. So they want to drive his wife crazy.
Yeah.
And then when Michelle Pfeiffer kills Harrison Ford, they're actually quite happy because that was what they wanted as well.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like a whole parallel movie, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I like that. That works.
Yeah. And maybe it goes a bit further. Maybe they end up somehow getting caught, or I don't know. Mm-hmm. I think you might. It's a weird way to end. Maybe the villains just get away with it, though. I don't know. But
yeah, I guess. Very good. No, I like that.
Do you want my Met idea, or you?
Yeah, let's give it a go.
I might wrap my Met idea in with my other main idea, which I'll.
Okay, we'll leave it.
You do yours.
Yeah. So mine is called What Lies Beyond.
What Lies Beyond.
The Grave.
Ah, okay, like it. Yeah.
So this one's again centers around a character in this film, and it's going to be another sidequel.
Oh, good. Okay.
It's going to center around Michelle Pfeiffer's daughter.
Oh, okay. The daughter you never see.
Yeah. Who was called Caitlin, it turns out.
Cool.
She went to college and presumably had her own thing going on.
Sure, of course, yeah. She has no idea her mum's gone crazy.
Yeah, that's literally what I've got written here.
Yeah.
So yeah, Caitlin is a bit of a nerd and finds it difficult to make any friends. You know, she's just moved to university, doesn't know anybody, maybe it's in a different state or something, who knows. And she doesn't actually get on with her roommate either. So she's really struggling social life-wise, and not even her mum will pick up her calls for some reason.
Mum is distracted. She's got
Otherwise
she is
engaged.
preoccupied. She's got other things going on.
Yeah. Now, because her social life isn't really taken off, she puts her energy into her schoolwork.
Okay.
And spends a lot of evenings at the library. One evening, when she's staying late, an older student comes in and comes over to speak to her. She finds him quite handsome.
Okay.
It's inexplicably played by Harrison Ford.
As a student,
De-aged. It needs to be him, though. It can look a bit iffy.
Okay. So you couldn't have the guy who played Han Solo in the Solo movie?
I mean, maybe you could, but I don't think so. It needs to be that us, the viewers, are like, oh, that's Harrison Ford. Like young Harrison Ford, what's he doing here?
Okay. That's a stretch. He's literally 58 in the original movie.
That's de-aging.
I mean, it's a huge... I mean, can you imagine if they de-aged Robert De Niro and put him in a rom-com with, like, Selena Gomez?
They literally de-aged Robert De Niro loads for The Irishman.
Yeah, but not so much that he was, like, 20 and in a rom-com.
He was, like...
Was he?
He was supposed to be, like, 20 or 30 or something.
Yeah, in that case, that did not take.
in the bottom of The Irishman. Yeah, it was a bit off, but yeah.
Okay, no, fine. Okay, well, I'll go with this. Fine.
But anyway, yeah, let's just... Yeah. Okay. Because she finds him handsome, she doesn't notice the similarities to her stepdad.
Sure. Yeah.
Who she doesn't realise is actually dead by this point, because this is maybe a few days into...
Oh, wow, okay.
You can see where I'm going with this, right?
Yeah, so she doesn't realise... So is it the ghost of her...
It is the ghost of her
stepdad.
It's the ghost of her stepdad.
Wow, okay. And is this him, like, coming back from the afterlife to seduce her as revenge on Michelle Pfeiffer for killing him?
Yeah, basically. I've not really got very much here, but yeah, that's pretty much where I was going with this.
Okay.
Let's just see what else I've got written here.
I like how it's as much of a surprise to you as it's to anyone else. So. What did I write?
Yeah, so after they have a bit of conversation in the library, he has to go for whatever reason. He's got plans. I don't know. But she didn't catch his name. And so she goes and she asks the librarian or something, who was that person? And apparently he didn't check in. No idea.
It's a mysterious relationship where, like, nobody else sees him apart from her.
Yeah.
They're always meeting alone.
Yeah.
Okay.
That sort of thing. Where does that go?
Okay, so so she's feeling very lonely. She's isolated from the other students.
Yep.
And this guy's like a real, almost like a knight in shining armor, like just her most vulnerable moment. He just comes out of nowhere, and they have this, like, very steamy, romance.
Yeah.
There's something familiar and comforting about him, but she can't quite place it.
Yes, and there's definitely something off as well. Something just a bit off. Ultimately, I don't really know where this is, what the end game of this is. I think that probably she's going to start up a bit of a relationship with him, and eventually, like, maybe it comes to Christmas or whatever, she's going to take him home to go meet her parents.
It's awkward. Well, maybe he's playing, like, a long game to try and, like, frame Michelle Pfeiffer.
Yeah.
And so he wants to use the daughter to kind of drive the mum insane, or to, like, make the mom look more insane.
So maybe, like, Caitlin does take him home to go and meet Michelle Pfeiffer and just be like, hey, Mum, I've got this new boyfriend. What do you think? And Michelle Pfeiffer doesn't really want to say anything right away.
But she sees it.
Yeah, but she sees it.
The younger man that she once dated, but when they were both young. So,
yeah, but Michelle Pfeiffer's like, well, it'd be too crazy of me to say, like, hey, this looks like the 20-year-old version of, like, my murderous ex-husband.
Yeah. Okay, here's the thing. Maybe it's not a ghost.
Yep.
Maybe Harrison Ford had a secret son who can also be played by Harrison Ford.
Okay.
De-aged. But, yeah. And this... Because it seems like he was a bit of a lying character. Before he got with Michelle Pfeiffer, he had this son. Or he had this son from another affair he had. In a different...
The son actually works, yeah.
Yeah. And so it actually turns out this guy who looks suspiciously like her stepfather is, in fact, her stepfather's illegitimate child, who... All he knows is that his father was murdered by his crazy bitch wife.
Yeah.
And so he's seducing the daughter to try and worm his way into the family so he can destroy them
back.
all. Yeah, and get his inheritance back.
I'm thinking, because like that house was a big thing. It was a big plot point in this movie.
Yes, it was. It's a beautiful house. And if he thinks, well, that belonged to my grandfather. And it was because it was Harrison Ford's father who owned the house. not Michelle Pfeiffer's father. She only got it through marriage. And this daughter was never Harrison Ford's kid. It was his stepkid.
Yeah.
So, yeah, maybe he feels like it's his birthright because he is actually a blood relation of Harrison Ford and Harrison Ford's father.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Michelle Pfeiffer sees him as like, well, he looks very much like my recently deceased murderous psychopathic husband, but that seems kind of crazy, so I'm not going to go there.
Yeah.
And then a lot of crazy shit starts happening to the mother and the daughter, and it turns out that he has been out orchestrating the whole thing to try and kill them both off so that he can then inherit the house.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
I
like that. Do you think that we then see from his point of view how he orchestrates things that makes it look like they're being haunted by a ghost?
Sure, absolutely, yeah.
I would love to watch that.
Yes.
I think that would just be really fun.
It's very pranky, yeah.
Yeah.
Also,
yeah.
Again, lots of
there's a lot of like
and
somebody turns around and then he just from behind a shelf just like pokes a picture off or
Yes,
something,
yeah,
and then he's just like, oh, just hide.
yeah, he's fully Home Aloneing it.
Yeah.
I think there's definitely something there for
Yep.
sure. Yeah.
It's just all about the inheritance.
Yes, definitely.
That's always money's always a good motivator.
Money's always a good
for horror
motivator
movies.
for killers, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. So
Money
that
and
was
revenge.
So that was What Lies Beyond.
What lies beyond?
The grave.
Okay, sure. Maybe beyond the family tree. Now that we've changed it, but
Could do, yeah.
yeah. Okay, so I have one more, but also I have my Met one, which I might try and wrap into my main one. Was it's mentioned briefly in a exposition scene, one of many, that Michelle Pfeiffer, before she was with Harrison Ford, she was in a relationship with a musician who died, who is presumably the father of the daughter.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking maybe...
I forgot about that daughter.
Yeah. How could you forget? So perhaps after the events of the original, or at some point, Michelle Pfeiffer starts getting haunted again by the ghost of her dead rock star husband.
Yeah.
So
Rockstar husband.
yeah, because he was a musician. So I mean,
right,
he could have been a cello player. I don't know, but I'm just assuming rock star.
Yeah, I assumed it was more of a classical thing. But if you want to make him Sting or whatever, then
I'm
sure.
thinking it's funny with his Sting.
Okay,
yeah,
cool.
Yeah, so like she's walking around the house and she's just hearing like I don't know guitar solos on the wind and stuff. And yeah,
Roxanne.
Exactly. Yeah. Everywhere she goes, she just hears stuff like
Yeah.
that. Yeah. So that was good. You were very high then. I'd never heard you sing like that before.
Thank you.
But yeah, I, that's all I really had. Just that it's like a rock star haunting Michelle Pfeiffer.
Okay. Which rock star do you want to go Sting, or do you want to go somebody
Could be
a bit more
someone like Sting.
a bit more spooky, like Ozzy Osbourne or something?
I don't want to make it cartoonish.
Okay.
No, I think someone like Sting will be funny because he has that whole song about stalking. You know,
of
everywhere
course.
you go. Yeah.
Yeah.
She's hearing that on the wind as well.
Yeah.
So it's a spooky possessive Sting type. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think Sting. Yeah, Sting will be a good murderous ex-boyfriend. Ghost kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's all I have for that. That's literally it.
He just gives her lots of messages in bottles.
Exactly. She's on the lake, and then a message washes up, and she's on the lake, and then a message in a bottle.
Yeah.
Hits the shore. She opens it. And it's like, I know what you did. Like it's all that. All of it. All the Sting hits.
Anything else we can tie in there?
I was thinking, like, is it set in New York? Was he an Englishman in New York?
Yeah, I was trying to think about that one. That's a difficult one to
Desert Rose. I don't
tie it
know.
in.
So many Sting songs.
Wait a minute. Let me just have a quick browse of the best of. There might be
The best of Sting.
What? I've always got it ready.
I know you do. You're so middle of the road.
Can't Stand Losing You?
I don't know that one very well.
No, okay. If you love somebody, set them free.
There you go. Yeah. By drowning them in a lake.
Yeah. Don't stand so close to me. You're making me cold with all your ghost energy.
Yes, there you go. Maybe Sting actually is a ghost.
So lonely.
Yep. Because I'm dead.
I'm dead. Yeah, so
it
there's
all
definitely...
comes together, yeah. Okay, that had more meat on the bones than I thought. Okay, that was literally all I had. But, yeah. But my main one, my final one, my biggest idea.
Okay.
So my final one is, the idea is that it's an actual sequel, so it's 20 years later, so, present day Michelle Pfeiffer.
Yeah.
So she's been living as kind of a widow ever since Harrison Ford died. But she still had her daughter, obviously. But maybe her and her daughter drifted apart a little bit over the years. Her daughter went to university, kind of had a rough life. Maybe she went off the rails a little bit off the tracks, and became a bit of a wild child. Anyway, in this film, 20 years later, her daughter actually passes away. Yeah, doesn't matter how, just something happens. She dies. Yeah. But it turns out before she died, she had her own infant daughter. So Michelle Pfeiffer is now a grandmother, and so as the only blood relative, she inherits this child. To raise, to like look after, and so maybe maybe it's like the first she's heard from her daughter in years. Maybe her daughter literally disappeared, went out on the road, properly dropped off the radar. They properly became estranged. And then she gets the terrible news that her daughter has died, and she's devastated, but she hasn't spoken to her in years, so it's kind of weird.
Yeah.
But at this moment, she also learns that her daughter actually had a child of her own like 5 years ago.
Right,
and now she's got this granddaughter that she never knew, but because she's the closest living relative, she gets immediate custody of this granddaughter.
How old is the granddaughter?
Like 5 years old.
Right.
Very, like young, I'm thinking toddler, like, because that's the best age for a horror movie. Like, I'm thinking like creepy toddler.
Something. Oh, right. Okay.
I'm going for creepy toddler.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah. So she like really dotes on this little girl. She tries to like do all the things right that she maybe feels like she did wrong with her own daughter, and she's putting a lot of emotion into this relationship.
Yeah.
And they're still in the fabulous lake house, basically.
Great.
But as time goes by, mysterious things start to happen. Once again, the house starts to feel haunted, and strange things start to take place. So Michelle Pfeiffer is once again facing like paranormal experiences. The house seems haunted. She's lots of weird stuff with bathtubs and whatever have you. But basically what I'm thinking is, so Michelle Pfeiffer is now paranoid and wondering whether her own dead daughter is trying to reach her from beyond the grave and get revenge for maybe like stealing her child or something. Whereas in the first film, she's haunted by the idea that her daughter's left and gone away and she's like an empty nester. In this one, she's haunted by this idea that maybe she's like failed as a mother, and because her daughter didn't have a happy life and she died, that like she's haunted by the guilt that she wasn't a good enough mother. And that's basically the psychological thing behind it. But maybe actually there's also a thing like, okay, is it a psychological thing that she is blaming herself for her daughter's bad life choices, and that's driving her insane and causing her to fantasize about all this crazy shit? Or is the little kid, the granddaughter, actually evil?
Okay.
And maybe the little evil granddaughter killed her own mother. And so Michelle Pfeiffer's like, is it me? Is it her? It's like it's like a psychological.
Yeah.
It's a whole like psychological thriller vibe, basically, is what I'm going for.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's all I had, but I thought that could be like quite a good tense. And I don't know what the answer is, whether it is the kid or whether it's just like her own guilt manifesting. But
I'd like to keep it open.
Yeah, like it's just
like, I don't know how you could do it, but get to the end of the movie and
just still don't know.
Not have that answered and just leave that completely up to the audience.
Yeah. Like maybe Michelle Pfeiffer goes fully insane and gets like dragged off to a mental health institution, but then at the last minute we get like a red-eyed shot of the daughter looking directly at the camera. It's like, whoa, what could it be?
That feels too
on
decisive,
the nose,
though.
Too on the nose, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, because the minute you see that, you're like, okay, well then the daughter was, or the granddaughter or whatever, is evil. So okay.
Okay, yeah, maybe something a bit more subtle where it could be one way or it could be the other.
Yeah. But yeah, I like that.
Yeah, okay, yeah, I think that's got something. Yeah.
Did I have a title?
What Lies Beneath the Bloodline?
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. I was thinking The Next Generation. Nah.
No, you've already done Beyond. Let's not get too Star Trek-y with this.
Oh, yeah. When I thought Beyond, I was thinking more like Beyond the box set.
I thought you were going to do a Star Trek thing, but obviously you didn't. So
no. Cool. All right. Well, that's that. Have you got listener submissions then?
I do. So what do we have here? So we have a few here. Rob London said, well, this is the one that I was going to read out when I thought I was going to surprise you with this news, but it sounds like we're going to do. What Lies Beneath Spirit of Vengeance, because it was written by Agent Coulson. The sequel incorporates it into the MCU.
Yes. Very good.
So that would have been a great mic drop if you hadn't already figured that out. Whatever.
I don't know about a great mic drop, but just like, oh, really?
Yeah, it's not the most exciting.
Yeah.
Whatever. Ryan Klima said, What Lies Repeat?
Oh, yeah.
What Lies? Yeah, it's a sequel, repeat, yeah. Kieran Cowan said, is this the one where the murderer did it? Very good. And finally, Gabriel Hinoyosa said, what stands on top?
Nice.
What lies beneath? What stands on top?
Yeah, very good.
Cool. Okay. So thank you, everybody, for those sequel ideas. We ask for your sequel pitches every week, a few days before we record, by posting it on our Facebook and Twitter pages. So do like and subscribe if you would like to learn more about that. To listen to more episodes of Beyond the Box Set, you can subscribe and browse up our catalogue on any podcasting platform, including iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, and many others, all of which you can also leave a 5-star review if you like. It really helps us to stay on the charts, so please do keep reviewing us if you feel like you enjoyed the show. As mentioned before, we're also available on Patreon, which is exclusively for the people who would rate us more than 5 stars if they could. You can find all the links in the description below or at beyondtheboxset.com. And next week, Harry, it's a you week. We're moving away from ghost stories for a while.
We have finished our ghost season. Thank goodness that none of us got too haunted while we were doing this spooky Halloween season.
Yeah, I think we've come out of it pretty well.
Yeah. How do you rank the films?
I would say Ghost, clear top.
Yep.
Very entertaining.
Yep.
What Lies Beneath.
Yep.
Beetlejuice.
Sure.
The Frighteners. No offense, Phil. The Frighteners was good. They were all good. There were no like real bombs, but the Frighteners didn't quite do it for me.
Nah, I'm putting Beetlejuice at the bottom, but other than that, I'm with you.
Yeah. So your Ghost, What Lies Beneath, Frighteners, Beetlejuice.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah.
Yeah. Nah. The Frighteners, I feel like it had something going for it. Beetlejuice, I feel like it only had nostalgia going for it.
Possible. I mean, I have that nostalgia though. So
I know you do.
Yeah.
I know that you like Tim Burton.
Yeah. Well, I don't love him, but I like him more than you do. So,
Clearly.
Yeah. So Sweeney Todd next week, yeah?
No!
No.
Veto on all Tim Burton films forever.
Okay, well, what are we doing then?
Okay, so we're doing a film that has a very good cast.
Okay.
I'm going to read out some of the cast members and see if you can guess what the film is.
Okay.
I don't think you will.
Okay. I consider it a challenge.
Prove me wrong. So, starring the main character is Simon Pegg. We also have Eddie Izzard and Joanna Lumley in this.
Okay. It's not one of those St. Trinian movies, is it?
No. We have all of Monty Python.
This feels like it's going to be a disaster.
And we have the final film that Robin Williams did.
Blimey, really?
Yep. Robin Williams' final cinema appearance.
I don't think I know. Simon Pegg starred in it.
Yeah.
Was it a hit?
It was a 6 IMDb. I've not seen it, so I'm taking a punt here.
Okay.
It's called Absolutely Anything.
I have no idea about this film.
No, I feel like it really flew under the radar. I think I remember seeing like a trailer for it once and thinking like, and that was it.
Okay.
And it was just purely based on the cast and maybe a bit of a concept. I think Robin Williams is a talking dog.
Okay.
I'm not sure.
And it's literally the last thing he ever did.
According to IMDb, yes.
Blimey.
Okay. So join in
that's
next week for
that's a wild card, but sure, absolutely everything. Okay.
Yeah, it's quick. It's now 25, so there's not a lot of commitment going on there.
Okay, fine. No, I'm here for it. I'm intrigued. We'll see.
There's the poster. It's very clearly a comedy.
Okay. No, that does look interesting. Okay, I'm looking at a picture of Simon Pegg doing a Jesus pose behind Kate Beckinsale and a very expressive dog.
Yeah.
With the voice of Robin Williams. Okay.
Yes, wearing a tie and glasses.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
I reckon this is going to be terrible.
I'm intrigued. I mean, yeah.
But hey,
not to get too dark, but one of the main stars decided life wasn't worth living short after making it. So
whoa, too soon, John.
Okay, too soon. Sorry, I might skip that out.
Okay. God, and on that bombshell.
Thank you, listeners. See you next week for absolutely anything.
Yeah. See you next week, guys. Thanks for listening. Bye.
He killed her and I'm not crazy!